This is one of those games that I've been wanting to play ever since I completed the first Mega Man X game. Unfortunately, finding a copy for the SNES was incredibly difficult, and the price that it goes for these days, I just never got around to it. Thankfully, I finally got a chance to play it through the Legacy Collection Edition on Steam. Mega Man X2 is a sequel to Mega Man X, originally released in 1994. It's a fast-paced 2D action platform game that builds on the gameplay of its predecessor while introducing new mechanics and challenges. The story takes place 6 months after the first game, with X continuing in his mission to hunt down the remaining followers of Sigma. The game opens up with X riding his bike straight into one of the Maverick bases while under fire, immediately showing how he's become much more confident, fearless, and a serious threat to the Mavericks than he was before. The controls are identical to the first Mega Man X game, and giving X the dash ability from the beginning made the combat feel very similar from the moment I started to play. There are 8 stages that you can tackle in any order, just like in the classic games, and each one has its own unique theme and boss. One stage has like a jungle setting where the weather constantly changes. You see the frogs overheating in intense heat before the strong winds roll in, followed by heavy rain, which makes the stage feel much more dynamic. Then there's a junkyard stage where some enemies are assembled from remaining robots from the previous game, which I thought was a really nice touch. The mobile armoured tank also makes a return in a few stages, and they're just as fun to battle the enemy with as ever in a one-on-one match. That said, the stage environments no longer change after defeating a certain boss like they did in the first Mega Man X game. However, there are still environmental hazards to watch out for, such as the volcano stage, what shoots lava into the air, and me trying to get out of the hellhole before the magma hits me, which kept that level intense, along with the closing walls on the other stages. Enemies respawn instantly once when they're off screen, which can actually be taken advantage of since some of them drop useful items. I also really enjoyed the hover bike, but it's only used for one stage, which felt like a big tease. Just as I was getting used to it and having fun, it took it away from me. I enjoyed learning each boss attack pattern and figuring out how they fought. I often started with the cactus boss, which fires spiky weeds and throws a chain at X. Then I'm battling a cocoon-like boss hanging from a string that eventually evolves into a gigantic moth. What shits dust attacks. Then I'm facing a crocodile maverick that leaps out of the oil pool and repeatedly tries and eats X. After defeating one of the 8 bosses, you unlock a new weapon, just like in the original Mega Man games. My favourites were the spinning fire or the bubble gun, as they were both fun to use in different circumstances. That said, I felt that Mega Man X had much more creative and visual selection of weapons overall, making them much more enjoyable to experiment with. There are 3 X-Hunter boss battles to encounter that randomly appears after defeating 2 stage bosses, what rotates after a stage you haven't completed yet. Each one has a sort of a hidden pathway where you can track them down and defeat them, recovering Zero's mechanical parts in the process. This is also where you'll be given a choice. You can either rebuild Zero yourself or leave his parts for the X-Hunters, which leads him to be rebuilt by them and later returning as a boss fight. However, I collected them just to see Zero turn up and destroy the fake Zero. I found that an epic scene to watch. Health upgrades and E-tanks are back, that are carefully placed throughout each stage for you to find and discover how to get them, along with the X upgrades, such as the X-Buster upgrade, what lets you fire 2 charged shots and looks really awesome. The most useful upgrade I found was the air dash, which made movement much more fluid. I felt the armour was much more developed and improved upon compared to its predecessor. Apart from the helmet upgrade that lets you scan for hidden areas, but you can't use any weapon while it's activated, which made it more of an annoyance for me, so I just stopped using it very quickly. There was one upgrade that seemed almost cryptic. I actually had to look it up because I couldn't find it myself. It required using the spiky wheel to break through a tunnel that blends into the rest of the environment, where I found X's chest upgrade, which unleashes a screen clearing explosion when fully charged, wiping out all enemies while X performs a cool little animation. And probably you have to backpedal at some point to collect X's upgrades, where some of them you need specific weapons to get the upgrade or know a few tricks, so you don't have to backtrack. I don't think there's many graphical improvements compared to the last game, apart from this 3D wireframe style effect that they were experimenting with at the time on the SNES. What was made possible by this new chip on the game cartridge. There are cutscenes, but it's just in-game text and showing the characters, and you get to see Dr. Kane this time around as he talks to X. It still uses the number code system, however in the Legacy Collection you can just load it instantly and pick up where you left off, except for the last stages of the game. I thought that X1 soundtrack was more better and rememberable than X2, yet there are good soundtracks here, and the one that I enjoyed the most was Zero's music when they show up. For how long the game is, it took me around about the 2-hour mark, so in the end I think that this is an impressive game for its time. Does it beat the original Mega Man X1? I'll say it's very close. There are things that X2 does better than X1, and there's things that X1 does better than X2, and I'd definitely recommend it. So have you played Mega Man X2? What do you think of it? Leave it in the comments below. Until next game, I'm off.